25% of the total geographical land area under the forest cover. That was the extent of the forest contiguity in 1920s. Now since then, India has grown bigger in terms of demographic population. The forest areas have been reduced. There have been all kinds of development, industrialization and then cultivation and all that. We had the green revolution and all that. Whenever we wanted to know the health of our ecosystem, health of our biological diversity conservation, we always counted tigers. In 1950, there was a basic estimate which was carried out by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and that revealed a population of 5,000 tigers, from 40,000 to 5,000. But India had just gained independence, so it was growing. No one paid attention towards forest and tigers. Way back in 1972, on the 5th of June, if you can recall this date, which is also known as the World Environment Day, on the 5th of June, at a place called Stockholm, which is a Swedish, I was recently there for a tiger symposium. 7 gentlemen had sat across the table on the 5th of June 1972, and they had vouched for global warming. The holes in the ozone layer and all that, because of the deforestation in Amazon, deforestation in the tropical forest, with the tropical moist deciduous, the tropical dry deciduous forest. So these 7 gentlemen had enacted the day called World Environment Day, 5th June, right? Taking inspiration from this act, 153 countries had signed an agreement immediately to preserve and protect their environment. So India followed the example, and we launched our first Wildlife Protection Act way back in 1972. If you have ever seen the book Wildlife Protection Act, in the bracket it says 1972, right? There have been number of amendments in that, like what as happens in the Constitution of India. Similarly, the Wildlife Protection Act is the constitution, the supreme governing body when it comes to the environmental conservation in the country, whether it's forest or wildlife or national parks or sanctuaries or conservation areas or biosphere reserves and all that. So I'm sure that you must have also studied this, that we have in India about 500 and plus national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, and together these 41 tiger reserves and 500 and plus national parks and wildlife sanctuaries constitute only about 4% of the total geographical land area under the protected biodiverse forest cover. When you also include the plantation and all that, then it comes to 11%. But 4% is the protected area network of this country, or the total geographical land area. So 1972, when there was once the act was formulated, there was also a census carried out in the forest, in the forest of the country, which revealed a very basic estimate of about 1,800 tigers. To be very precise, 1,820 tigers, less than 2,000 tigers. And this was the time when the whole world community, the international community, got alarmed, and they launched still the biggest environmental conservation project, which is known as Project Tiger, which was launched in Corbett. I'll show you the grassland where the Project Tiger was launched. Right now, Corbett was the first tiger reserve of Asia as well as India, and then now we have 41 tiger reserves. So then after that, the government of India tried to save the tiger in isolation. There was no concept of tourism and everything. And in 1991, there was a seizure of the tiger bones and body parts. For the first time, the world came to know that the Chinese have been eating tiger bones and body parts for various ailments, right? A lot of superstitious beliefs there and all that. And that was the time when tourism had started taking shape. I had come to Corbett in 1994 and started tourism in Corbett, the itinerized tourism. Earlier it was all haphazard. People didn't know about the itineraries, morning safari, afternoon safari. There should be fixed timing for the safari. Should be walking safaris, the birding trails and all that. So they were not aware of these facts. So since the tourism has taken the shape, the tiger number is now stable, because the local people are getting benefited. They don't hire the poachers to kill the tigers. They don't instigate. They don't support. Earlier, the Chinese were actually, or the syndicates sitting in Delhi were actually hiring the local people to kill the tiger and all that, and they were getting just peanuts for killing a tiger. So since the tourism has taken the shape, people are aware of the tiger conservation. That's what is happening. So we were still beating around the bush, beating around the bush, that we were not sure, we had no idea exactly as to what to do. So in 2005, there was a disaster in Sariska. 45 tigers were counted in Sariska in 2004, and somebody filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court of India, and then an expert committee was formed, and this expert committee came out with this idea of camera trapping. So for the first time in India, the camera traps were laid. Earlier, the pug mark census is not very reliable. Though a tiger is born with a distinct pug mark, but facial markings are the most reliable thing. Every tiger is born with the distinct facial markings. Right? So the camera traps were laid all around the forest, and that revealed a figure of 1,411 tigers, if you can recall that, on the Aircel campaign, NDTV Aircel campaign.
Yes.
You must have seen the big posters and all that. 1,411 tigers. That was the 2006 census. And then the same procedure was repeated in 2009, and the figures were revealed in 2010, which said 1,706 tigers. So from 1,411 to 1,706. Possibly there are more tigers in the zoos all over the world than in the wilderness, but those are useless. They can't be released back into wilderness. A tiger cannot be released back into wilderness because of the problems, which I can always discuss with you on the mail and all that. Where have tigers evolved? Tigers have actually evolved in northern China, the Shanghai, Siberia. There used to be 8 types of tigers in the world, 8 subspecies of tigers in the world, and out of those 8, 4 have already gone extinct. There was a Javanese tiger, there was a Caspian tiger, there was a Balinese tiger, and there was a South Chinese tiger. Now, out of the 4 existing species, the one which we have in India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, that is called Royal Bengal tiger. Then we have got Sumatran tiger, which is down further south, Sumatra and Borneo, Indonesia, Malaysia. Then we have Indo-Chinese tiger, which is found in Thailand, Myanmar, islands of Henan. Then we have Siberian tiger, which is Russian Far East. These are the 4 species. Royal Bengal tiger still has the largest population in the wilderness. Sumatran tigers may go extinct any moment. Only about 200 are left in the wilderness. Siberian tigers, they're also about 315 numbers, but the government of Russia is highly dedicated to save the tiger. So we have hopes from there. Mr. Putin, the president and the prime minister now, is very keen on saving the tiger. Perfect. Shall we start it now? Anything? I mean, just quickly we go on to the slide.